That cold October night, Nathan Cole had no idea that pulling a drunk woman from the rain would cost him everything he thought he knew about mercy power and what happens when the people who control your paycheck suddenly see you as human. His boss didn't just remember what he did. She weaponized his kindness in ways that would shake Hartwell Motors to its foundation. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tell you how one good deed destroyed the line between compassion and catastrophe, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from, so I can see how far this story travels and stay until the very end. Because what Vanessa Hart did next, nobody saw coming. She was going to die, and I couldn't let her die. That's what Nathan Cole told himself 3 seconds before he yanked the steering wheel hard right, his 10-year-old son Oliver jerking awake in the back seat as the tires screamed against wet asphalt. The headlights caught her just in time. A woman in a pencil skirt and heels stumbling into traffic like she'd forgotten how bodies work, rain plastering dark hair against her face. The semi behind them laid on its horn. Nathan was already out of the car, already running. "Dad, what are you doing?" He didn't answer. His hands found her shoulders just as her knees buckled. She smelled like whiskey and money, and when she looked up, mascara running black down her cheeks, Nathan's stomach dropped. Vanessa Hart, his boss, the woman who'd ripped into him that morning for being late, who'd told him his work was sloppy, his future questionable, his job hanging by a thread. "You," she slurred. "You're the garage guy." "Ma'am, you need to get out of the road." She laughed, high, broken. "Ma'am, even now you call me ma'am." The truck driver was out now yelling. Nathan could see more headlights coming. "Oliver, open the back door." His son obeyed. Nathan half-carried, half-dragged Vanessa toward their beat-up Honda. Getting her into the back seat was like wrestling a rag doll. She was mumbling something about fathers and failure and cold, none of it making sense. "Is she okay?" Oliver's voice cracked. "She will be." Nathan stripped off his jacket, the only decent one he owned, and tucked it around her. She was shivering now, lips going blue. "Seatbelt on, buddy." The truck driver was still yelling, but Nathan was already pulling away. Vanessa curled in the back, clutching his jacket like a lifeline. In the rearview mirror, Oliver stared at his boss with wide eyes. "Dad, that's your boss, the mean lady." Nathan's hands tightened on the wheel. "She's not mean, Oliver. She made you cry last week." "I wasn't crying." "Your eyes were red when you picked me up." "Smart kid. Too smart." Nathan didn't respond, just kept driving, windshield wipers beating trouble, trouble, trouble. He should take her to a hospital. Should call someone from the company. Should do anything except drive his drunk boss across town while his second shift started in 45 minutes. "Where does she live?" "Good question." Nathan pulled over, reached carefully into Vanessa's purse. Tried not to think about all the ways this could go wrong. Her wallet held 3 credit cards, $200 in cash, and a license with an address in Harbor Heights. Of course. The waterfront condos where parking spaces cost more than Nathan made in 6 months. 20 minutes later, he pulled up to a building that screamed money. Doorman, marble lobby. The kind of place that made you feel poor just looking at it. And standing under the awning smoking a cigarette was Greg Chen from accounting. Nathan's blood went cold. Greg's eyes went wide, then narrow. Then he pulled out his phone. "Stay here," Nathan told Oliver. "Lock the doors." "But Dad..." "Lock them." Nathan got Vanessa out of the car. She was conscious enough to mumble her apartment number, unconscious enough that he basically had to carry her. Greg was still there, phone up, definitely filming or taking pictures or both. "Cole, that you..." Nathan didn't answer, just kept moving. "That's Ms. Hart." "Nathan, what the hell are you..." She needed help. "I bet she did." Greg's smile was ugly. "This is going to be interesting." Nathan's jaw clenched, but he kept walking. The doorman watched with barely concealed judgment. The elevator ride up was torture. Vanessa's head against his chest, his heart hammering because this was his boss, His boss who could fire him with one word, and he was currently holding her, while some jackass from accounting was probably already texting half the company. Apartment 2847. He got the door open with her keys, got her to the couch, made sure she was on her side. Everything white and expensive and cold. He found a blanket, laid it over her. Set water and aspirin on the table. On the coffee table sat a photo. Vanessa younger smiling next to an older man, both of them happy in a way that seemed impossible now. "I'm sorry," she mumbled, eyes still closed. "I'm so sorry, Dad." She wasn't talking to him. Nathan left, locked the door with her spare key, slipped it back in her purse. Outside, Greg was gone, but Nathan knew the damage was done. He got back in the car, where Oliver was pressed against the window, face pale. "Is she gonna be okay?" "Yeah, buddy, she's fine." Why was she like that? How do you explain to a 10-year-old that adults break sometimes? That the people who seem strongest are held together with nothing but pride and pressure? Sometimes grown-ups have bad days. Worse than when Mom left. The question hit like a punch. Nathan kept his eyes on the road. Different kind of bad, Oliver. His phone buzzed. Text from his warehouse manager. "Where are you?" Then another text. Unknown number. A photo. Nathan driving. Vanessa in the back seat. The message, "Interesting night." His hands shook. He deleted it, kept driving. "You're a good person, Dad," Oliver said quietly. Nathan's throat was tight. "I'm just trying, buddy." Most people would have kept driving. Yeah, well, most people aren't us. They got home to their tiny rental where the heat didn't work right, and the roof leaked when it rained hard. Nathan carried Oliver inside, both of them exhausted. His phone kept buzzing. The warehouse manager. His landlord. A reminder about Oliver's school project. Normal life pressing in, while Nathan's brain kept circling back to Vanessa Hart on that couch looking lost in her $1 million apartment. And Greg Chen with his phone out. He was 2 hours late to his warehouse shift. His manager wrote him up. Didn't care about storms or emergencies or anything except Nathan Cole, unreliable, as always failing to show up on time. Nathan took it. One more mark in his file. Then he worked until 2 in the morning unloading trucks, shoulders screaming, mind numb. When he finally got home, Oliver was asleep on the couch, school books scattered around him. Nathan carried his son to bed, kissed his forehead, collapsed into his own bed without undressing. His jacket was still with Vanessa. The good one, the only one without holes. Of course it was. He closed his eyes and told himself tomorrow everything would go back to normal. She'd pretend it never happened. People like Vanessa Hart always did. They didn't like being seen as weak. She'd probably avoid him for weeks, then fire him quietly. Erase the embarrassment of owing someone like Nathan Cole anything at all. That's what experience taught him. He was wrong. He was so spectacularly, dangerously wrong. The next morning, Nathan woke to Oliver shaking his shoulder, panic in his voice. Dad, we overslept. I'm gonna be late." The clock read 7:52. School started at 8:15. Hartwell Motors at 8:30. Nathan's shift at 8:00. Crap. That's a quarter. They had a swear jar. Oliver's idea. Saving for a bike. Nathan shoved himself out of bed, body protesting. No breakfast. Grab a granola bar. Move. They moved. Nathan in yesterday's clothes. Oliver in whatever was clean. Both racing time and losing. Nathan dropped Oliver at school at 8:19, watched him sprint inside, then drove to Hartwell knowing he was late again. Another write-up. Another step closer to being let go. He pulled into the employee lot at 8:23, parked, ran. Through the side entrance past the showroom toward the garage where he spent his days fixing cars for people who'd never worked 2 jobs to keep their kids fed. Marcus, his supervisor, was waiting by the time clock. Cole, second day. You trying to get fired? I'm sorry, Save it. Main office wants you. 9th floor. Now. Nathan's stomach dropped. Ninth floor. Executive Suites. Vanessa Hart's corner office. This was it. She was firing him herself. He took the elevator up each floor, a countdown to unemployment. His reflection showed exactly what he was: tired man in wrinkled clothes, stubble on his jaw, grease under his fingernails. Not the kind of person who belonged on the ninth floor. The elevator doors opened. A receptionist looked up. "Nathan Cole." "Yes." "Go right in. She's expecting you." Expecting him. Like she'd planned this. Nathan walked toward the glass office at the end of the hall. Through the transparent walls, he could see her. Vanessa Hart behind her massive desk. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect armor back in place. He knocked. "Come in." Her voice was steady, controlled, giving nothing away. Nathan stepped inside. "Close the door, please." He did. They stood there, executive and employee. The silence stretched. "Sit down, Nathan." He sat. The chair probably cost more than his rent. Vanessa looked at him, really looked. Not as an employee number, not as a name on a schedule, as a person. For the first time in 2 years she saw him. It was unsettling. "I remember everything from last night," she said. Nathan's carefully prepared speech died. "You pulled me out of traffic, drove me home, made sure I was safe. You could have left me there. Most people would have. You needed help. I fired someone last month for being 10 minutes late." She paused. "Do you know that—" Nathan didn't know what to say. "I've spent 15 years building walls, being hard, being untouchable, being the kind of leader people respect through fear because I thought that was strength." Something flickered in her eyes. Real. Raw. "Last night I stood in the rain trying to work up the courage to walk into traffic on purpose. You stopped me." The air left Nathan's lungs. "Ma'am, don't, let me finish." She held up a hand. "I looked up your file this morning. Single father, 2 jobs, son in elementary school. Yesterday I dressed you down for being distracted for poor work. You know what I didn't know? Your son was sick. You'd been up all night with him. You came anyway because you couldn't afford not to." Shame burned in Nathan's chest. "I should have told you." "You shouldn't have to. I should have asked." Vanessa stood, walked to the window, back to him. "My father." She stopped. Tried again. "We weren't speaking. For 2 years. And last night I was drunk and broken and ready to end it. And a man I'd treated like dirt saved my life without hesitation, without judgment, without asking for anything." She turned back. "So no Nathan Cole. I'm not going to pretend to forget. I'm going to remember. And I'm going to do something about it." Nathan's heart pounded. "You don't owe me anything." "Don't I?" Her smile was sad. "You gave me your jacket. It's being cleaned. You'll have it back tomorrow, but that's not the point. The point is, you saw someone in trouble and helped. No calculations, no agenda, just decency. When was the last time someone showed me simple human decency?" She pulled out a folder. "I'm giving you a paid day off. Today. Go home. Spend time with your son. Take him somewhere he'll remember." Nathan stared. "I don't understand." "You don't have to. Just accept that sometimes people surprise you." She held out the folder. "There's information here about the company's hardship fund. I didn't know it existed until this morning. Resources for employees facing financial difficulties. You qualify. Apply." "I can't." "You can. Pride is expensive. Trust me." She sat back down, looked tired. Truly tired. "I'm not doing this to feel better about myself. I'm doing it because it's right. Because you were right. And because maybe if I start seeing the people who work for me as human beings, I can become someone my father wouldn't be ashamed of." Nathan took the folder with shaking hands. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. The culture here is toxic. I built it that way. Changing it will be hard. People will fight me. She met his eyes. But I'm going to try. Will you help? Help you? I'm just a mechanic. You're a single father who works 2 jobs and still stops for drunk strangers. You're exactly who I need to listen to. She smiled. It transformed her face, made her human. So what do you say? Will you help me figure out how to run a company that doesn't destroy people? Nathan thought about Oliver, about bills on his counter, about the bike his son wanted and couldn't have, about the warehouse where his manager didn't care if he collapsed, and Hartwell Motors where until this moment he'd been nothing but a number. He thought about Vanessa Hart in The Rain, Lost and Breaking, about how sometimes the people at the top are just as scared as everyone else. Yeah, he said, I'll help. Good. She extended her hand. Let's start fresh. I'm Vanessa. Nice to meet you, Nathan. He shook. Her grip was firm, sure. Something shifted. Not fixed, not perfect, but shifting. Go home, Vanessa said. Hug your son. Live your life. Tomorrow we'll start making things better, not just for you, for everyone. Nathan left the 9th floor in a days folder clutched in his hands. In the elevator, his reflection showed the same wrinkled clothes, same tired eyes. But something had changed. Hope, maybe. He called his warehouse manager from the parking lot. Quit effective immediately. The man cursed him out, told him he'd never work in this city again. Nathan hung up and felt lighter than he had in years. Then he drove home. Oliver was already back, confused why Dad picked him up early. We're taking the day off, Nathan said. Both of us. Both of us. Where you want to go. Oliver's face lit up. Really anywhere. Anywhere. The Science Museum. The dinosaur exhibit. Can we? Nathan thought about his bank account. About the paid day. About being able to say yes without calculating the cost. We really can. Get your jacket. They spent the afternoon with fossils and stars. Oliver's excitement was infectious, his questions endless. Nathan watched his son run exhibit to exhibit and felt something crack open in his chest. Joy. Pure. Uncomplicated. When was the last time he'd felt this? On the drive home, Oliver fell asleep again, exhausted from happiness. Nathan glanced at him in the rear view and smiled. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Thank you for today, and last night, and for reminding me what matters, V. Nathan didn't reply. Didn't need to. Just drove home through late afternoon sun, his son peaceful behind him, thinking about how one moment of compassion can change everything. How the people who seem untouchable are just waiting for someone to see them. How maybe things were going to be different. He was right about that. But what he didn't know was that Greg Chen had already sent those photos to 5 different people. What he didn't know was that by tomorrow morning, everyone at Hartwell Motors would be talking about the mechanic who'd carried the drunk CEO home. What he didn't know was that jealousy spreads faster than gratitude, and rumors grow teeth in the dark. Nathan pulled into his driveway. Oliver still sleeping. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a number he recognized. Derek from the garage, one of the other mechanics. They weren't friends exactly, but they weren't enemies either. The text said, "Dude, what the hell did you do?" Before Nathan could respond, another text came through. Screenshot of a group chat, 23 people in it. Title, Hartwell Gossip. The messages made his blood run cold. Nathan Cole and Hart, no way. I heard he was in her office for 30 minutes this morning. Greg saw him carrying her last night. Carrying her where? Her apartment building. Holy shit. That's how he got promoted. Sleeping with the boss. He didn't get promoted. He got a day off. Same thing, special treatment. This is so messed up. Poor guy's wife just left him and now he's screwing the CEO. They're divorced. No, she just left. Took off with some other dude. So he's rebounding with Hart, damn. Nathan's hands shook. He looked at Oliver, still asleep, innocent, unaware that his father's life was being torn apart in a group chat by people who didn't know anything, didn't care about truth, just wanted something juicy to chew on. Another text from Derek. "Man, I don't believe it, but people are talking. Thought you should know." Nathan typed back, "It's not what it looks like." "Never is," came the reply. Then, "But I'd get your story straight before tomorrow. This is spreading fast." Nathan sat in his car in his driveway watching the sun set. Inside his house, the heat didn't work right. The roof leaked. The bills were stacked high. But for one afternoon, he'd been happy. He'd watched his son laugh, and he'd felt hope for the first time in months. And now, this. Another text. This one from Marcus, his supervisor. "Cole, need to see you first thing tomorrow, 7 a.m., my office. This is serious." Nathan closed his eyes, pressed his forehead against the steering wheel. This was what he got for trying to help. This was what he got for being decent. This was what he got for thinking that maybe, just maybe, people could change and things could get better. Oliver stirred in the back seat. "Dad, we home." Nathan opened his eyes, turned around, smiled at his son, even though his world was crumbling. "Yeah, buddy, we're home. Today was the best day ever." "Yeah," Nathan said softly. "Yeah, it was." He helped Oliver out of the car. They went inside. Nathan made dinner, helped with homework, read a story at bedtime. Normal dad things, safe things. While his phone kept buzzing with texts he didn't want to read, messages he didn't want to see, rumors that were growing teeth and claws and coming for everything he'd worked so hard to build. After Oliver was asleep, Nathan sat at his kitchen table, stared at the folder Vanessa had given him. The hardship fund application, the paid day off paperwork, evidence that something good had happened. But all anyone would see was a mechanic getting special treatment from the boss he'd taken home drunk. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Hello?" "Nathan, it's Vanessa." Her voice was tight, controlled, but he could hear the cracks. "I've been getting calls," she said. "About us. About last night. People are talking, saying things that aren't true." "I know." "I'm sorry. I should have thought. I should have realized that showing you kindness would—" She stopped. "This is my fault." "No, it's not." "It is. I've created a culture where people assume the worst, where they can't imagine someone getting recognized for simple decency without there being some ulterior motive." She was quiet for a moment. "I want to fix this. I want to tell them the truth." "That'll make it worse." "How?" "Because the truth sounds worse than the lie. The truth is, you were standing in traffic trying to die, and I stopped you. The truth is, you were broken and drunk, and I took you home. The truth makes you look weak, and me look like I'm taking advantage." Silence on the other end. "So what do we do?" Vanessa asked. Nathan looked at the photo on his fridge. Him and Oliver at the beach last summer. Both of them smiling. Before things got so hard. Before his wife left. Before he started working 2 jobs just to keep them afloat. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I have a meeting with my supervisor tomorrow at 7 a.m. He said it's serious. I'll be there." "That'll make it worse too." "I don't care. You saved my life, Nathan. The least I can do is save your job." She hung up before he could argue. Nathan sat in his kitchen alone, phone dark in his hand. Outside, the rain had started again. Inside, the heat still didn't work right, and somewhere in the building where he worked, where he'd spent 2 years being invisible and disposable, people were tearing his name apart because he'd stopped to help someone in the rain. He thought about Greg Chen with his ugly smile and his camera phone. He thought about the group chat with 23 people who didn't know him but felt qualified to judge him. He thought about Marcus calling him in before his shift, the serious tone that meant trouble. He thought about Vanessa Hart, saying she'd be there, like that would fix anything, like her presence wouldn't just confirm every nasty rumor that was spreading through Hartwell Motors like poison. And he thought about Oliver asleep upstairs, who'd said today was the best day ever. Nathan stood up, walked to the sink, splashed cold water on his face. Tomorrow was going to be a war. Tomorrow he'd have to fight for his name, his job, his dignity, all because he'd done what any decent person should do. Tomorrow he'd learn that kindness has a price. And tomorrow, Vanessa Hart would have to decide if changing her company was worth destroying the man who'd reminded her she was human. But tonight, Nathan just stood in his kitchen and let the water drip from his face, and wondered if he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. Outside, the rain fell harder. Inside, his phone kept buzzing, and somewhere in the city, Greg Chen was already planning what to say to HR. The rain hadn't stopped by morning. Nathan stood outside Hartwell Motors at 6:45 a.m., coffee in hand, that had gone cold 20 minutes ago, watching people arrive for their shifts. Some of them looked at him, some of them didn't. But he could feel the weight of their knowledge, the rumors that had grown overnight like mold in dark places. Marcus's office was on the second floor, tucked between supply closets and the break room where Nathan used to eat lunch alone. Now he climbed the stairs with lead in his stomach, each step heavier than the last. Through the window, he could see Marcus at his desk, and next to him, Greg Chen from accounting, looking entirely too pleased with himself. Nathan checked his phone. One text from Vanessa, sent at 6:30 a.m. "On my way. Don't say anything until I get there." He was about to put the phone away when another text came through. This one from Oliver's school. His heart dropped. "Mr. Cole, we need to speak with you about an incident involving Oliver this morning. Please call the office." Nathan's hands shook. He dialed. The secretary answered on the second ring. "Greenwood Elementary. This is Nathan Cole. I got a text about my son." "Oh, Mr. Cole." "Yes." "Hold, please." The hold music was cheerful and completely wrong for the moment. Nathan leaned against the stairwell wall, trying to breathe. "Mr. Cole?" A new voice. Principal Morrison. "I'm afraid there was an altercation this morning. Oliver got into a fight with another student." "Oliver doesn't fight. The other child was saying things. About you. About your employer. Oliver punched him." Nathan closed his eyes. "Is he okay?" "He's upset. The other boy has a bloody nose. We need you to come in." "I can't. I have a meeting. A work thing. Can I come after?" "Mr. Cole, your son punched another student. This is serious. So is my job, which I'm about to lose, which is why kids were saying things about me in the first place." Nathan's voice cracked. "Please, give me 2 hours. I'll be there by 9. A long pause. 9 o'clock. Don't be late." Nathan hung up and pressed his forehead against the cool wall. Oliver had punched someone. His gentle kid who cried over dead birds and shared his lunch with anyone who looked hungry had punched someone because they'd talked about his dad. "Cole, you coming or what?" Marcus stood at the top of the stairs, arms crossed. Nathan climbed the rest of the way, walked into the office. Marcus shut the door behind him. Greg sat in the corner chair, phone out, that same ugly smile from last night plastered across his face. "Sit," Marcus said. Nathan sat. "You want to tell me what happened last night?" "I helped someone who needed help." "That someone being Ms. Hart?" "Yes." "Our CEO." "I know who she is." Greg leaned forward. "I saw you carry her into her building. She was drunk. You were alone. That's not helping Cole. That's taking advantage." Nathan's jaw clenched. "I drove her home safely and left. That's it." "That's not what it looked like." "I don't care what it looked like. That's what happened." Marcus rubbed his temples. "Look, Nathan, I don't want to believe you'd do something stupid, but you got special treatment yesterday. Day off, private meeting. People are talking." "Let them talk." "It's not that simple. We have policies, fraternization, harassment. If there's something inappropriate happening between you and Ms. Hart, I need to know. There's nothing inappropriate. Then why were you in her apartment? I wasn't in her apartment. I got her inside safely and left. Greg laughed. Come on, man. Nobody's buying that. You expect us to believe you had the CEO of this company drunk in your car and you just dropped her off. Out of the goodness of your heart. Yeah, that's exactly what I expect you to believe. Then you're dumber than you look. Nathan stood up, fast chair scraping. Say that again. Boys. Marcus stood, 2 hands up. Everyone calm down. I'm not sitting here listening to this. Nathan turned toward the door. You walk out, you're fired, Marcus said. Nathan's hand was on the doorknob. Then fire me. Nathan. The voice came from the hallway. Vanessa Hart stood in the doorway, perfectly composed in a charcoal suit, her eyes cold and sharp. But Nathan could see the tension in her shoulders, the tightness around her mouth. Marcus's face went pale. Ms. Hart, I didn't know you were coming. Clearly. She stepped inside. The room suddenly felt smaller. Nathan, sit down, please. He sat. Vanessa remained standing. Marcus, I understand you're conducting some kind of investigation. Let me save you the trouble. 2 nights ago, I had too much to drink. I was not in a good state of mind. Nathan saw me in distress and made sure I got home safely. That's all that happened. Nothing inappropriate. Nothing that violates company policy. Greg cleared his throat. With all due respect, Ms. Hart, it doesn't look good. Employee taking the CEO home. Special treatment the next day. People are going to assume things. People assume things because we've created a culture where kindness is so rare, it must have ulterior motives. Vanessa's voice was ice. That's on me. That's what I'm trying to change. Change is great, Marcus said carefully. But we have procedures. HR needs to be involved. There needs to be documentation. Fine, document this. Nathan Cole acted with integrity and compassion. He helped someone in crisis. For that, he's being rewarded with paid time off and access to our hardship fund, which he qualifies for and should have been offered months ago. She turned to Greg. And you, taking photos, spreading rumors, creating a hostile work environment. How long have you worked here? Greg's smile faded. 6 years. Consider this your formal warning. Do it again and you're done. You can't be serious. Deadly serious. Get out. Greg stood face red. This is bullshit. He gets special treatment and I get threatened. You took photos of a colleague in distress and spread them around the company. Yes, you get threatened. Out now. Greg left, slamming the door. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Ms. Hart, I appreciate you clarifying, but the damage is done. People are talking. Nathan's reputation is being destroyed by people who don't know him. Vanessa's voice softened slightly. Marcus, I know this is awkward. I know it looks bad. But sometimes we have to do what's right regardless of how it looks. Nathan did that for me. Now I'm doing it for him. Marcus nodded slowly. Okay, but HR still needs a formal statement from both of you. Fine, I'll handle it. Vanessa looked at Nathan. Come with me. They left Marcus's office and walked down the hall in silence. Nathan could feel eyes on them, could hear whispers starting up as they passed. The elevator ride to the 9th floor was torture. Neither of them spoke. The doors opened, and Vanessa led him to her office, shutting the door firmly behind them. Then she sagged against the desk, the perfect composure cracking. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I made it worse. You tried to help. I threatened an employee. I pulled rank. That's not helping Nathan. That's proving everyone right, that you're getting special treatment because of me. Nathan sat down heavily. My son punched a kid at school this morning. Vanessa looked up sharply. What? The kid was saying things about me. About us. Oliver punched him. I have to go to the school at 9. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. So, congratulations. In trying to save me, you've destroyed my reputation, And now my kid's fighting at school. Nathan, I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. They sat in silence. Outside, the rain continued. Inside, Nathan's phone buzzed. Another text from the school. Another from Derek saying the group chat was up to 40 people now. Another from an unknown number with a photo of him and Vanessa walking into her office this morning. Caption, "And the scandal continues." I should quit, Nathan said finally. No. It's the only way this stops. I quit, disappear, eventually people find something else to talk about. And what do you tell Oliver, that you ran away because people were mean? Nathan's jaw tightened. That's not fair. None of this is fair. Vanessa moved to sit across from him. Listen to me. I spent 2 years not speaking to my father because I was too proud to admit I was wrong. He died before I could fix it. I'm not letting you throw away your livelihood because I screwed up. You didn't screw up. You tried to help. I helped badly. I should have thought about how it would look. Should have been more careful. She leaned forward. But here's what I know. You're a good man, a good father, a good employee, and I'll be damned if I let gossip destroy that. What are you going to do? Fire everyone who talks about us? No, I'm going to do something better. She picked up her phone. I'm going to tell the truth. Vanessa, no. But she was already dialing. Jennifer, I need you to schedule an all-hands meeting, today, noon, everyone who's on shift, and get communications to draft a company-wide email. She paused. The subject is mental health and workplace culture. I'll be making a personal statement. She hung up. Nathan stared at her. You can't tell everyone what happened. Watch me. They'll think you're weak. I am weak. That's the point. I'm human. I struggle. And 2 nights ago, I almost did something terrible because I couldn't handle the weight anymore. But I didn't because someone stopped me. Someone who had every reason to keep driving, but didn't. Her voice shook slightly. If telling that story helps one person, if it makes one employee realize they're not alone, if it changes this toxic culture even a little bit, then it's worth it. Nathan's throat was tight. What about me? What about you? They'll still think I'm sleeping with you. They'll still whisper. They'll still make my life hell. Then we weather it together. Vanessa met his eyes. You didn't leave me in the rain. I'm not leaving you in this. Nathan wanted to argue. Wanted to say she didn't understand what it was like to be him, to be expendable, to be the person people looked through instead of at. But something in her face stopped him. Determination, and underneath it fear. She was scared too. Okay, he said finally. Okay. His phone rang. The school. I have to go, he said, standing. Go. Handle Oliver. I'll handle this. Vanessa stood too. Nathan, thank you for last night, for not giving up on me. I won't give up on you either. He nodded and left, taking the elevator down, while his heart hammered against his ribs. In the parking lot, the rain had finally stopped. Weak sunlight broke through clouds. Nathan drove to Greenwood Elementary with his hands tight on the wheel, practicing what he'd say to Oliver, to the principal, to anyone who asked why his 10-year-old son had resorted to violence. Principal Morrison's office smelled like old books and disappointment. Oliver sat in a chair outside, head down, hands folded in his lap. When he saw Nathan, his face crumpled. I'm sorry, Dad. Nathan knelt in front of him. What happened, buddy? Tyler said you were sleeping with your boss. He said that's why Mom left. He said you're a bad person who does bad things. Oliver's voice shook. So I hit him. I hit him hard. Oh, Oliver. I know I shouldn't have. I know it was wrong. But he was lying about you, and I got so mad, and I just... Tears spilled over. I'm sorry. Nathan pulled his son into a hug, felt the small body shake with sobs, and wanted to find Tyler and his parents and everyone else who'd contributed to this moment and make them understand what their gossip had done. Instead, he just held his kid and let him cry. "Mr. Cole," Principal Morrison stood in her doorway. "Come in, please, both of you." They sat. Morrison folded her hands on her desk, her face stern, but not unkind. "Oliver, what you did was unacceptable. We don't hit, ever. Do you understand?" Oliver nodded miserably. "However," she looked at Nathan, "I spoke with Tyler's mother. The things her son was saying were inappropriate and cruel. She's been made aware. Tyler will also face consequences." "What kind of consequences?" Nathan asked. "Suspension for both boys. 3 days. 3 days for defending himself. For violence, Mr. Cole. I understand Oliver was provoked, but we have zero tolerance for fighting. No exceptions." Nathan bit back what he wanted to say, nodded instead. "Fine. 3 days. I expect a written apology from Oliver to Tyler. Tyler should apologize too. He will, to Oliver, not to you. What Tyler said about you is between you and his family." She softened slightly. "Mr. Cole, I know this is difficult. Children repeat what they hear at home. Parents talk. Sometimes they talk about things they shouldn't. But we can't have students settling disputes with their fists. Even when someone's attacking their parent? Even then." They left the office. In the car, Oliver was quiet for a long time. Finally he said, "Are you sleeping with your boss?" Nathan nearly drove off the road. "What no?" "Oliver, no." "Who told you that?" "Tyler. And some other kids. They said their parents saw pictures." "Your boss is a woman I work for. That's all. Nothing else." "Then why are people saying things? How do you explain adult cruelty to a child? How do you say that people are bored and mean and will destroy reputations for entertainment?" "Because I helped her when she was having a bad night. And some people can't imagine helping someone without wanting something in return, so they made up stories." "That's stupid." "Yeah, buddy, it really is. Are you going to lose your job?" The question hit Nathan in the chest. "I don't know." "If you lose your job, do we have to move?" "I don't know that either." Oliver was quiet again. "Then, I'm sorry I hit Tyler." "I know. But I'm not sorry for why I did it." Nathan glanced at his son, saw the stubborn set of his jaw, the fierce loyalty in his young eyes. Pride mixed with worry in his chest. "That's fair," Nathan said finally. "That's fair." They got home and Nathan made lunch neither of them was hungry for. His phone kept buzzing. Texts from work. From Vanessa, saying the meeting was set. From Derek, saying people were placing bets on whether Nathan would be fired. From unknown numbers, with more photos, more speculation, more cruelty. At 11:30, Nathan's phone rang. Vanessa. "The meeting's in 30 minutes. You should be here." "I can't leave Oliver alone." "Bring him. There's a break room on the 8th floor. He can wait there." Vanessa. "Nathan. I'm about to tell 300 people that I almost killed myself, and you saved my life. The least you can do is be there." She hung up. Nathan looked at Oliver on the couch playing a game on his tablet still in his school clothes. "Buddy, we need to go back to my work for a bit." Oliver looked up. "Do I have to?" "Yeah, but you can stay in a quiet room. Won't be long." They drove back to Hartwell Motors. The parking lot was fuller now, the day shift in full swing. Nathan took Oliver to the 8th floor, found the break room Vanessa mentioned. It was empty except for vending machines and uncomfortable chairs. "Stay here. I'll be back soon." "Where are you going?" "To a meeting. About you. About a lot of things." Nathan knelt down. "Oliver, whatever happens, whatever people say, you need to know I didn't do anything wrong. Okay? I helped someone. That's all. And I'd do it again." Oliver nodded. "Okay, Dad." Nathan left him there with a bag of chips from the vending machine and headed to the main floor where the all-hands meetings were held. The large conference room was already packed. People stood along the walls. Voices buzzed with speculation. When Nathan walked in, the room went quiet. He felt every eye on him. Heard whispers start up. Saw Greg Chen in the back row, arms crossed, smirking. Saw Marcus near the front, looking uncomfortable. Saw a dozen other faces he worked with, people he'd shared break rooms and small talk with, all of them looking at him now like he was something foreign and suspect. Nathan found a spot against the side wall. Tried to make himself small. Tried to disappear. Then Vanessa walked in, and the room went silent. She moved to the front, no podium, no notes. Just her standing there, in her perfect suit, with her perfect armor. But Nathan could see the cracks now. Could see the woman underneath, who'd been broken in the rain. "Thank you all for coming," Vanessa said. Her voice was steady, but not cold. Human, not corporate. "I'm not going to waste your time. You've all heard rumors about me and one of our employees, Nathan Cole. I'm here to tell you the truth." The room held its breath. 2 nights ago, I stood in the middle of the road in a rainstorm trying to work up the courage to step in front of a truck. I was drunk. I was grieving. And I wanted to die. Someone gasped. Vanessa didn't flinch. Nathan Cole was driving home with his son. He could have kept driving. Most people would have. But he didn't. He stopped. He pulled me out of traffic. He made sure I got home safe. He saved my life without asking for anything in return. The room was absolutely silent now. Yesterday, I called him into my office to thank him, to apologize for how I've treated him and every other employee in this company, to tell him that I'm tired of running this place through fear and intimidation, that I want to do better. Her voice cracked slightly. And what happened? Rumors, photos, assumptions that a man showing compassion must have ulterior motives, that a woman showing gratitude must be sleeping with him. She looked around the room, making eye contact with people, letting them see her. "My father died 3 months ago. We weren't speaking. I was so busy building this company, being tough, being untouchable, that I forgot to be his daughter. And now he's gone and I can't fix it." Tears shone in her eyes but didn't fall. So when Nathan Cole reminded me that people matter more than pride, more than power, more than any of this, I decided to change, to be better, to create a workplace where compassion isn't punished. She paused. But I handled it badly. I gave Nathan special treatment without thinking about how it would look. I put him in an impossible position. And now his reputation is being destroyed. His son is fighting at school and he's considering quitting because of my mistakes. Nathan's chest was tight. "So here's what's going to happen. I'm starting a new program. Mental health support, hardship assistance, real work-life balance. Everyone who qualifies gets access. Not just Nathan. Everyone. And anyone caught spreading rumors, taking invasive photos, or creating a hostile environment will face consequences. Real ones." She looked directly at Greg Chen. "We're going to be better. All of us. Starting now. Starting with me." She turned to Nathan. "And if anyone has a problem with that, you can take it up with me directly. Not through gossip, not through group chats. To my face." The room was so quiet, Nathan could hear his own heartbeat. Then someone in the back started clapping. Slowly at first. Then another person joined. Then another. Within seconds, half the room was applauding. Not everyone. Greg sat with his arms crossed, face red. Marcus looked conflicted. But enough people. Enough to matter. Vanessa's shoulders dropped slightly, tension releasing. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Now get back to work. We have cars to build." People filed out. Some approached. Nathan mumbled apologies, offered awkward support. Others avoided his eyes. Greg left without a word. Eventually, the room emptied except for Nathan and Vanessa. "Well," she said, "that happened." "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." She turned to him. "How's Oliver?" "Suspended for 3 days, for punching a kid who called me a bad person." Vanessa closed her eyes. I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing. You're trying to fix this. By making it worse first, apparently. She managed a small smile. But maybe now it gets better. Maybe. Nathan's phone buzzed. Text from Oliver. Dad, how much longer? I should go. Nathan. Vanessa stopped him. Whatever happens next, whatever people say, you're not alone in this. Okay? He nodded. Couldn't quite speak around the lump in his throat. They walked out together down the hall where people stared into the elevator, where silence felt heavy. On the 8th floor, Nathan collected Oliver, who looked up with worried eyes. Everything okay? Yeah, buddy. Everything's okay. They drove home through afternoon traffic. Nathan's phone buzzed continuously. Some messages supportive, some still cruel, but fewer of the cruel ones now. Maybe Vanessa's speech had helped. Maybe people were thinking twice. Or maybe they were just better at hiding their cruelty. At home, Nathan helped Oliver with homework, made dinner, tried to create normalcy in a world that had tilted sideways. After Oliver went to bed, Nathan sat at his kitchen table and finally let himself feel it all. The fear, the anger, the exhaustion, the strange unexpected gratitude that Vanessa Hart had stood in front of 300 people and made herself vulnerable to protect him. His phone rang one more time. Vanessa. How are you holding up? Been better? Been worse? The email went out. Company-wide policy changes, mental health resources, anti-gossip enforcement. It's official now. Will it actually change anything? I don't know, but I'm going to try. We're going to try. She paused. Nathan, I know this has been hell, but thank you for not giving up, for being exactly who you are. Who am I? Someone who does the right thing even when it costs you everything. That's rare. That's valuable. That's what I need to learn. They talked for a few more minutes about nothing important, just two people who'd been through something difficult together trying to find their footing. When they hung up, Nathan felt lighter somehow. Not fixed, not perfect, but lighter. He checked on Oliver one more time, found his son sleeping peacefully, one arm around his stuffed dinosaur. Nathan kissed his forehead and whispered, We're going to be okay, buddy. I promise. Outside, the stars were finally visible through breaking clouds. Inside Nathan's phone was finally quiet. And somewhere in the city, in her expensive apartment, Vanessa Hart sat alone and thought about second chances and whether she deserved one. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new rumors, new tests. But tonight, for the first time in days, Nathan Cole let himself hope that maybe Vanessa was right. Maybe they could weather this together. Maybe compassion could win over cruelty. Maybe. 3 days of Oliver being home suspended, 3 days of Nathan trying to work while feeling eyes on him constantly. 3 days of whispers that had gotten quieter but hadn't stopped. The company-wide email had changed some things. HR had started enforcing the anti-gossip policy. 2 people had been written up. But culture doesn't shift overnight, and Nathan could still feel the weight of judgment every time he walked through the garage. On the 3rd day, a Thursday, Nathan came home to find Vanessa Hart sitting on his front steps. She wasn't in a suit, jeans, a sweater, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked younger, more human, and completely out of place in his neighborhood where the houses were small and the cars were old and nobody wore cashmere. What are you doing here? Nathan asked, getting out of his car. Vanessa stood. I wanted to check on you, on Oliver. You haven't been answering my calls. I've been busy. Avoiding me, you mean? Nathan sighed. What do you want, Vanessa? To help. You've helped enough. The words came out harsher than he intended. Vanessa flinched but didn't leave. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But I meant what I said. We're in this together. No offense, but you can go back to your expensive apartment whenever you want. I live here, with these neighbors who now think I'm sleeping with my boss. Oliver goes to school with kids whose parents gossip about us. You get to escape this. I don't. Vanessa nodded slowly. You're right. I'm sorry. I'll go." She turned to leave, and Nathan felt something twist in his chest. Guilt, maybe, or loneliness, or the recognition that she was trying even if she didn't know how. "Wait," she stopped. "Oliver's inside, suspended. Remember, you want to help. Come in and explain to my 10-year-old why his life got turned upside down, because I did the right thing." It was a challenge, a test. Nathan expected her to make an excuse and leave. Instead, Vanessa turned back. "Okay." Nathan blinked. "Okay. Okay. I'll tell him, if that's what you need." They went inside. The house was small, and the heat still didn't work right, and there were dishes in the sink from breakfast. Everything that Nathan usually tried to hide from people who mattered was on full display. But Vanessa didn't seem to notice or care. She just followed him into the living room, where Oliver sat on the couch doing homework. "Oliver, you remember Ms. Hart?" Oliver looked up. His eyes went wide. "The boss lady." "Just Vanessa is fine." She sat down on the other end of the couch, keeping space between them. "Your dad tells me you got in trouble at school because of me." Oliver glanced at Nathan, uncertain. Nathan nodded. "A kid said mean things about Dad. I hit him." "That must have made you very angry." "What he said." "Yeah." "I'm sorry, that's my fault. I put your dad in a bad position, and other people made assumptions and you paid for it. That's not fair." Oliver shrugged. "Dad says life isn't fair." "Your dad's smart, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to make things more fair when we can." Vanessa leaned forward slightly. "I'm trying to fix what I broke. It's going to take time, but I want you to know that your dad is one of the best people I've ever met. What he did for me stopping to help when he didn't have to, that's called character. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows it." Oliver studied her. "Are you really his boss?" "I am." "Are you going to fire him?" "No. Never." "Promise." Vanessa met the boy's eyes. "I promise." Oliver seemed to accept this. He went back to his homework. Nathan stood there feeling something crack open in his chest. "You want coffee?" he heard himself ask. Vanessa looked up surprised. "Yeah, that would be nice." They went into the kitchen. Nathan made coffee in his ancient machine that sputtered and complained. Vanessa sat at the table that wobbled on one leg. "This is where you live," she said quietly. "This is it. It's nice. You don't have to lie." "I'm not. It's lived in, loved in. That's more than I can say for my place." She accepted the coffee mug he handed her. "Thank you for letting me in. I know you didn't have to." Nathan sat across from her. "Why are you really here?" "Because I can't sleep. Because every time I close my eyes I see you in that meeting, everyone staring at you, judging you. And I know I did that. I made your life harder when I was trying to make it better. So this is about your guilt." "Maybe, partly. But also, I don't have anyone else to talk to." "Isn't that pathetic? I'm the CEO of a major company, and I don't have a single person I can call a friend." Nathan took a sip of coffee. Thought about Derek, who texted him updates but never invited him anywhere. About coworkers who were friendly but distant. About how loneliness looked different depending on your tax bracket but felt the same. "Tell me about your father," he said. Vanessa's hand tightened on her mug. "Why?" "Because you mentioned him the other night, and in your speech. And every time you do, you look like you're about to break." She was quiet for a long moment. Then, "His name was Richard. Richard Hart. He built Hartwell Motors from nothing. Worked himself half to death doing it. When I was little, he was never home. Always at the company. Always building. I used to hate him for it." "But you took over the company." "Ironic, right? I became exactly what I hated. He tried to warn me. Told me not to sacrifice everything for success. Told me that in the end the company doesn't love you back. We fought about it. I said terrible things. that he was weak, that he'd gone soft, that I was going to be better than him. Her voice cracked. 2 years. We didn't speak for 2 years. And then one morning I got a call that he'd had a heart attack, died in his office, at the company, alone. Tears spilled over now. And all I could think was that I'd been so busy being strong and tough and untouchable that I forgot to be his daughter. I never got to tell him he was right, that I was sorry, that I loved him. Nathan reached across the table, put his hand over hers. She didn't pull away. That night you found me, I was going to his grave. Got drunk instead. Stood in that road thinking maybe if I just stopped existing, the pain would stop too. She looked up at him. And then you stopped me. You didn't know me, didn't owe me anything, but you stopped. I'm glad I did. Why, I've made your life hell. Because you're trying to change. Because you listened when I said people matter. Because underneath all that armor, you're just someone who misses their dad. Vanessa laughed wetly. When did you become so wise? Single Parent Handbook, Chapter 7, How to Explain Pain to Kids Who Don't Understand Why the World Hurts. She smiled through tears. You're a good father, Nathan. I'm trying. That's all any of us can do. Try. From the living room, Oliver called out, Dad, I'm hungry. Nathan started to get up, but Vanessa stopped him. Can I make him something? Nathan hesitated. You cook? I can make a sandwich, probably. He almost said no, almost told her she'd done enough. But something in her face, the hopeful vulnerability, made him nod instead. Peanut butter and jelly. He likes it cut diagonal. Vanessa stood. Diagonal. Got it. She made the sandwich while Nathan watched, and it was oddly domestic, this CEO in his kitchen spreading peanut butter, carefully cutting the sandwich just right. She brought it to Oliver with a glass of milk, and the boy looked at her like she'd performed magic. You made this? I did. Is it okay? Oliver took a bite. It's good. Vanessa's smile was radiant. Yeah. Yeah. She came back to the kitchen looking pleased with herself. I made a sandwich. You did. And he liked it. He did. When was the last time someone was genuinely happy about something I made? She sat back down, shaking her head. I approve billion-dollar deals, and nobody cares. I make a sandwich, and it matters. Welcome to parenthood. I'm not his parent. No. But you're here, and that matters too. They talked for an hour. About her father. About Nathan's ex-wife who'd left because she couldn't handle the struggle anymore. About Oliver and his gentleness. About the company and whether it could really change. About small things and big things and nothing at all. When Vanessa finally left, Nathan felt lighter somehow. Less alone. And when Oliver asked if the boss lady was coming back, Nathan realized he kind of hoped she would. She came back the next day, and the day after that. Not every day, not intrusively, but enough that Oliver started setting an extra place at dinner without being asked. Enough that Nathan stopped being surprised to find her on his front steps. Enough that the neighbors started talking again, but Nathan found he cared less. Board meeting today, Vanessa said one evening, sitting at Nathan's wobbly table while Oliver did homework and Nathan made spaghetti. I'm proposing the new program. Hartwell Hearts. Support for single parents' mental health resources, better work-life balance. How do you think they'll react? They'll hate it. It costs money, cuts into profits. But I don't care. They can fire you. CEOs get fired. Let them try. She took a sip of water. Nathan, I've spent 15 years doing everything their way, building a company that destroys people. I'm done. If they fire me for trying to make things better, then they can fire me. Nathan turned from the stove. You mean that? I do. When did you get so brave? When someone reminded me what actually matters. She smiled. Thank you for that. For all of this. For letting me be part of something real. The board meeting was brutal. Nathan heard about it the next day from Vanessa, who showed up at his house at 10 p.m., looking exhausted and exhilarated. They fought me on everything, every dollar, every policy, said I was being emotional, said I'd gone soft, said my father would be ashamed. Nathan's jaw tightened. They said that. They did. So I told them my father died because he worked himself to death for a company that didn't care about him, that I almost did the same, that I refused to build a legacy on broken people. She laughed high and breathless. And then I told them if they didn't approve the program, they could find a new CEO. Vanessa. They approved it. Unanimous vote. Because they're terrified of the PR nightmare if they fire me right after my mental health speech. She grabbed Nathan's hands. We did it. Hartwell Hearts launches next month. Real support for people who need it. Your story, what you did for me, it's going to help hundreds of employees. Nathan felt his throat tighten. You really did it. We did it. You inspired it. You showed me what compassion looks like. She pulled him into a hug, spontaneous and genuine, and Nathan hugged back, because sometimes words aren't enough. When she pulled away, they were both smiling. I need to tell you something, Vanessa said. The board, they want to promote you. Officially. Shop supervisor. Better pay. Benefits. Real opportunity. Nathan's heart jumped. What? They think it'll look good. Company supporting the little guy. Good optics after everything. She paused. But Nathan, you'd be good at it. You're a natural leader. People respect you. Some people. Others still think I slept my way to consideration. Let them think what they want. You earned this. Do you want it? Did he? Nathan thought about Oliver's bike, about the roof that leaked, about not having to work 2 jobs anymore, about being able to breathe. Yeah, he said. Yeah, I want it. Good. It's yours. They celebrated with leftover spaghetti and cheap wine from Nathan's fridge. Oliver joined them, not understanding what the adults were celebrating, but happy because they were happy. And for the first time since that rainy night, Nathan let himself believe that maybe things were actually going to be okay. The promotion came through the following week. Shop supervisor. 40% pay increase. Real benefits. His own office small, but his. Nathan cleaned out his locker in the garage and moved upstairs, and if some people whispered about favoritism enough, others congratulated him that it balanced out. Derek shook his hand. Told you, man. You're one of the good ones. Marcus was professional. Congratulations, Cole. You've earned it. Even Greg Chen, still bitter but subdued after Vanessa's warning, managed a curt nod. Nathan's first act as supervisor was to approve time off for a mechanic whose daughter was sick. His second was to order better equipment for the shop. His third was to actually talk to the people working under him, learn their names, their situations, their struggles. You're really doing it, Marcus said one day, watching Nathan chat with a young mechanic about childcare options, changing things. Trying to. It's what someone taught me. That someone kept visiting, not every day, but regularly. Vanessa and Oliver had developed their own relationship. She helped with homework, taught him about business in terms a 10-year-old could understand, brought books about dinosaurs because Oliver loved them. And slowly, carefully, she became something like family. Is Vanessa your girlfriend? Oliver asked one night after she'd left. Nathan nearly choked on his water. What? No. Why would you think that? She's here a lot. She smiles at you weird. You smile at her weird. We're friends, buddy. Mom and Dad were friends before they were married. That's different. How? Nathan didn't have a good answer. Because the truth was, he didn't know what they were. Friends, yes, but also more than that. Something undefined and complicated and terrifying. Because Vanessa Hart was still his boss, still lived in a different world, still shouldn't be making sandwiches in his kitchen and laughing at his bad jokes and looking at him like he was someone worth knowing. It's complicated, Oliver. That's what adults say when they don't want to explain. You're too smart for your own good, you know that. Oliver grinned. That's what Mom used to say. The mention of his ex-wife stung less now. Time was doing its work. Or maybe it was having something else to focus on. Someone else. Hartwell Hearts launched in November. A full program with resources, support groups, financial assistance, flexible scheduling. Within the first week, 23 employees applied. Within the first month, 67. Success stories started coming in. A single mother able to afford childcare. A widower getting mental health support. A young employee able to finish college while working. "It's working," Vanessa told Nathan at his house one evening. Oliver was already asleep. They sat on the couch with coffee. The comfortable silence of people who'd spent enough time together to not need constant conversation. "People are using the program. Lives are changing. Because of you." "Because of us?" "No. Because of you. I wrote the check. You wrote the blueprint." She turned to face him. "Nathan, I need to tell you something." His heart rate picked up. "Okay." "The board wants to expand Hartwell Hearts nationally. Every branch. Full rollout. It's going to be huge." "That's amazing." "It is. But it means I'll be traveling. A lot. Meetings. Presentations. Convincing other branches to adopt the program." She paused. "I'll be gone for weeks at a time. And I realize something. I don't want to be." "Why not?" "Because I've gotten used to this. To you and Oliver. To having dinner at a wobbly table. To making sandwiches and helping with homework and feeling like I'm part of something that matters." Her voice was soft. "I've gotten used to having a family again." Nathan's throat was tight. "Vanessa, I'm not asking for anything. I know this is complicated. I know I'm your boss. I know we come from different worlds. But I needed you to know that this, whatever this is, it matters to me." Nathan set down his coffee, thought about careful boundaries and professional distance, and all the reasons this was a bad idea. Then he thought about Vanessa crying at his kitchen table, about her face when Oliver said her sandwich was good, about how she'd stood in front of 300 people and made herself vulnerable to protect him. "It matters to me too," he said quietly. They sat there, the space between them charged with possibility and fear. Nathan wanted to reach for her hand, wanted to close the distance, wanted to say all the things building in his chest. But the moment felt fragile, like speaking would shatter it. "I should go," Vanessa said finally. "It's late." "Yeah." But neither of them moved. "Nathan." His phone rang, loud and jarring. Nathan grabbed it, ready to ignore the call, then saw the name. Amanda. His ex-wife. He hadn't heard from her in 8 months. "I need to take this." Vanessa nodded and stood. "I'll see myself out." Nathan answered the call as she left, watching her go, already missing her presence. "Hello." "Nathan." "It's Amanda. We need to talk. It's about Oliver." His blood went cold. "What about Oliver?" "I want to see him. Properly. Maybe work out custody arrangement." "You left us. You don't get to just walk back in." "I made a mistake. I've been in therapy. I want to make things right." "After 8 months." "I know I don't deserve it. But he's my son too. Please, Nathan, let me try." Nathan closed his eyes, thought about Oliver asking about his mother, sometimes the sad confusion in his young voice, thought about second chances and whether everyone deserved them, or just the people who'd earned them through suffering. "I'll think about it," he said finally. "But I'm not promising anything. You hurt him. You hurt us." "I know. I'm sorry. Thank you for considering it." She hung up. Nathan sat alone in his living room the evening that had felt so full of possibility, now complicated by his past demanding attention. His phone buzzed again. Text from Vanessa. "Thank you for tonight, for everything. See you tomorrow." Nathan typed back, "Yeah, tomorrow." But tomorrow brought its own complications, because the next morning, Nathan got a call from a headhunter. A company in another state. Better pay. Better benefits. Better future for Oliver. The job of his dreams in a place where nobody knew his name, where he could start fresh without rumors or judgment or the complicated feelings he was developing for his boss. The interview is just a formality, the headhunter said. They want you. When can you come out? Nathan looked at the photo on his fridge. Him and Oliver at the Science Museum, both of them smiling. Looked at his kitchen where Vanessa had sat and cried about her father. Looked at his life that had been falling apart weeks ago and was somehow impossibly coming together. I'll need to think about it, Nathan said. Don't think too long. Opportunities like this don't wait. Nathan hung up and stood in his kitchen, torn between the life he'd built and the life he could have. Between staying and leaving. Between safety and possibility. Between the woman who was becoming something important and the clean slate that would solve everything except the loneliness. His phone rang again. Vanessa. Hey, can you come by the office? There's something I need to show you. Now. Please, it's important. Nathan drove to Hartwell Motors with his mind spinning. The headhunter's offer. Amanda's call. Vanessa's admission last night. Everything converging at once, demanding decisions he wasn't ready to make. Vanessa waited in her office, smiling, excited about something. Close the door. He did. She pulled out her laptop, turned it toward him. Look at this. Applications for Hartwell Hearts. Look at the numbers. Nathan looked. Hundreds of applications. Thousands of dollars distributed. Success stories flooding in. Lives changing. We did this, Vanessa said. You and me. We actually made a difference. It's incredible. It is. And I've been thinking, this can't just be a Hartwell thing. This needs to be bigger. Industry-wide. I want to start a foundation. Hartwell Hearts Foundation. Supporting single parents everywhere, not just our employees. And Nathan, I want you to help run it. His heart stopped. What? I'm serious. You understand the struggles. You've lived them. You'd be perfect for this. We could do so much good together. It was everything he should want. Purpose. Impact. Working alongside someone he cared about. Making a real difference. But all he could think about was the headhunter's call. The job in another state. The chance to start over. Vanessa, You don't have to answer now. Think about it. But Nathan, this could be something really special. Not just the foundation. All of it. Us. She'd said it. The thing they'd been dancing around. Us. Nathan opened his mouth to respond and his phone rang again. Oliver's school. His stomach dropped. I have to take this. Of course. Mr. Cole. It's Principal Morrison. Oliver's fine, but there's been an incident. Can you come in? Nathan was already moving toward the door. I'm on my way. He drove too fast to Greenwood Elementary, his mind racing. Found Oliver in the principal's office again this time, with tears streaming down his face. What happened? Tyler's mother came to school, started yelling at Oliver about the fight, about you. Security had to escort her out. Principal Morrison looked grave. Mr. Cole, I think it's best if Oliver finishes the year doing remote learning. This situation has become too disruptive. Nathan felt like he'd been punched. You're kicking him out. I'm protecting him and the other students. This has gotten out of hand. Nathan looked at his son, at the fear and confusion in his young eyes, and felt everything he'd been trying to build crumble. Come on, buddy, let's go home. In the car, Oliver cried. I didn't do anything, Dad. She just started yelling at me. I know, buddy. Why does everyone hate us? Nathan didn't have an answer, just drove home with his son crying beside him and his phone full of messages he couldn't face. When they got home, he called Vanessa. I need time to think about everything. Nathan, what's wrong? Oliver's school, they're pulling him out. This isn't stopping. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. We can fix this. I don't know if we can. His voice broke. I don't know if I can keep doing this. Keep fighting. Keep watching my kids suffer because I tried to help someone. Nathan, please. Don't make decisions right now. Just give it time. That's all everyone wants. Time. But how much time does Oliver have to hurt before I'm allowed to protect him? He hung up before she could answer, spent the rest of the day with Oliver trying to comfort his son while his own world spun out of control. The headhunter called again. Nathan didn't answer. Vanessa texted. Nathan didn't respond. That night, after Oliver finally fell asleep, Nathan sat at his kitchen table with 3 paths in front of him. Stay and fight, building something with Vanessa, but risking Oliver's well-being. Take the new job and start fresh, leaving behind everything he'd built. Or give up entirely, retreat into survival mode, stop hoping for better. His phone lit up one more time. Vanessa. Not a text. A voice message. He almost deleted it. Instead, he listened. Nathan, I know you're scared. I know you're tired. I know you want to protect Oliver, and I love that about you. But please don't run. Not yet. Not from this. We can figure it out together. We can make it work. I know we can. Because what we have, what we're building, it's worth fighting for. You're worth fighting for. Call me back. Please. Her voice cracked on the last word. Nathan closed his eyes and let himself feel everything. The fear, the hope, the exhaustion, the possibility, and underneath it all, the terrifying realization that he was falling for Vanessa Hart, and that might be the most complicated, dangerous, beautiful thing he'd ever done. Tomorrow, he'd have to make choices. But tonight, he just sat in his kitchen and wondered if love was supposed to be this hard, or if he was doing everything wrong. Outside, the stars shone indifferent and bright. Inside, Nathan's heart beat uncertain and hopeful. And somewhere across town, Vanessa Hart sat in her apartment holding her phone and praying he'd call back. He didn't call back that night, or the next morning. Nathan spent 48 hours in a fog taking care of Oliver, who was now home all day fielding calls from the headhunter, who was getting impatient and avoiding every message from Vanessa. His phone showed 17 missed calls from her. 32 texts. 3 more voice messages he couldn't bring himself to listen to. On the 3rd day, she showed up at his door again. But this time, she wasn't alone. Amanda stood next to her. Nathan's blood turned to ice. "What the hell is this? Before you slam the door," Vanessa said quickly. "Just listen, please. You brought my ex-wife to my house." "I called her," Amanda said. Her voice was different than he remembered, softer, less sharp. "Vanessa called me, said you were struggling, said Oliver was hurting. I came as fast as I could." Nathan looked between them, betrayal burning in his chest. "You had no right." "I know," Vanessa said. "But you wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't let me help. So I did the only thing I could think of. Oliver needs his mother. You need support. I'm trying to give you both. By ambushing me. By caring about you." Vanessa's eyes were fierce. "Nathan, I'm not going to apologize for fighting for you when you won't fight for yourself." Nathan wanted to yell, wanted to tell them both to leave. Instead, he heard himself say, "Oliver's inside." "Can I see him?" Amanda asked, and, "Just for a few minutes. I won't push. I just want to see my son." Every instinct screamed no. But Nathan thought about Oliver asking about his mother sometimes, the confusion in his voice. Thought about second chances and whether people could actually change. 10 minutes, and I'm staying in the room." Amanda nodded. "Thank you." They went inside. Oliver was on the couch with his tablet. When he saw his mother, his face went through a dozen emotions in 3 seconds. Shock. Confusion. Hurt. Hope. "Mom." "Hi, baby." Amanda's voice broke. "Can I sit with you?" Oliver looked at Nathan. Nathan nodded. Amanda sat down carefully, keeping space between them like approaching a wounded animal. "I'm sorry," she said simply. "For leaving. For hurting you. For not being strong enough when things got hard. You said you were coming back. You didn't come back. I know. I was wrong. I was scared and selfish, and I ran away from the best things in my life." Tears spilled down Amanda's face. But I'm here now, and I want to try. To be your mom again. If you'll let me. Oliver's chin trembled. You promise you won't leave again? I can't promise nothing will ever be hard, but I promise I'll stay. I'll fight. I'll be here. Amanda reached out slowly. Can I hug you? Oliver launched himself into her arms, sobbing, and Amanda held him like she'd never let go. Nathan watched from the doorway, with his heart in pieces, Vanessa beside him, equally wrecked. You did that, Nathan said quietly. You gave him his mother back. You gave me my life back. This is me returning the favor. They let Amanda and Oliver have their moment. Went to the kitchen where Vanessa leaned against the counter, exhausted. Why? Nathan asked. Why would you do this for me? Because I love you. The words hung in the air between them, simple, devastating, true. Vanessa. I love you, she said again. I love your kindness and your strength and the way you make sandwiches for your son and save drunk CEOs in the rain. I love that you see people really see them when everyone else looks through them. I love you, and I couldn't watch you destroy yourself trying to carry everything alone. Nathan's throat was tight. I got a job offer, in Seattle. Better pay, better everything. A fresh start. Vanessa's face went pale. When were you going to tell me? I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm taking it. Are you? I don't know that either. Nathan sat down heavily. A month ago, my life was falling apart. Now it's coming together, but it's so complicated I can barely breathe. You're my boss. We work together. People already think the worst. And now I'm in love with you too, and I have no idea what to do about any of it. Vanessa crossed to him, knelt in front of his chair, took his hands. So, let's uncomplicate it. I'll quit. What? I'll step down as CEO. Remove the conflict of interest. We can be together without people questioning everything. You can't quit. Hartwell Motors is your life. You're my life now. You and Oliver. This family we're building. That matters more than any company. Her voice was fierce. Nathan, I spent 15 years choosing work over people, choosing success over connection, and it left me standing in the rain wanting to die. I'm not making that choice anymore. The board will never let you just quit. Then they'll fire me. I don't care. I'm done letting fear make my decisions. She squeezed his hands. Stay. Please. Don't run to Seattle. Stay, and let's figure this out together. From the living room, they could hear Oliver laughing at something Amanda said. The sound was pure and bright and full of hope. I need to think, Nathan said. I know. I'm not trying to pressure you. I just needed you to know that you have options, that you're not alone, that whatever you decide, I'm here. She stood, kissed his forehead gently, and left him sitting in his kitchen with his world turned inside out. Amanda stayed for 2 hours, talked with Oliver about everything and nothing, made promises Nathan desperately wanted to believe but didn't quite trust yet. Before she left, she pulled Nathan aside. I know you hate me. You should. But I'm getting help. Real help. Therapy. Medication. I'm dealing with what I should have dealt with years ago. Why now? Because I lost everything, and it still wasn't enough to make the pain stop. So I finally admitted I needed help. She looked at Oliver, laughing at something on his tablet. I want to be part of his life again. Slowly. Whatever you're comfortable with. He's been through enough. I know. That's why I'm asking, not demanding. Whatever timeline works for you both, I'll respect it. Nathan wanted to say no, wanted to protect Oliver from more potential hurt, but he also remembered being a kid who'd wanted his own absent father to come back. Remembered the hole that never quite healed. Saturdays, he said finally. You can take him on Saturdays, 4 hours, supervised at first. Thank you. Amanda's relief was palpable. Nathan, I know I don't deserve another chance. Thank you for giving me one anyway. After she left, Oliver was quiet for a long time. Then he said, Is Mom really staying this time? I don't know, buddy. I hope so. Me too. That night, Nathan called the headhunter back. I need more time. Time's running out, Nathan. They want an answer by Friday. Friday then. I'll give you an answer Friday. He hung up and immediately called Vanessa. I listened to your voice messages, all of them. And I need to see you. Can you come over tomorrow? We need to talk, really talk. I'll be there. The next day, Vanessa arrived with coffee and bagels and determination. Oliver was at the Science Museum with Derek, who'd volunteered to give Nathan some space to think. The house felt empty without him. They sat at the wobbly table that had become their place. I've been thinking, Nathan said, about everything. Seattle, the foundation, us, what I want versus what Oliver needs. And I realized I've spent the last year in survival mode. Just trying to make it through each day. I stopped thinking about what I actually wanted because wanting things felt dangerous when I could barely handle what I had. Vanessa listened without interrupting. But then you came into my life. Actually, I came into yours. And suddenly, I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm living. I'm hoping. I'm believing things could be better. And that's terrifying. Why terrifying? Because hope hurts when it gets taken away. Because I've built this whole life around protecting Oliver and myself from more pain, and loving you being with you opens us up to so much potential pain. It also opens you up to joy. I know, that's the terrifying part. Nathan took a breath. I'm not taking the Seattle job. Vanessa's face lit up. Nathan. But I need you to not quit. Not yet. Not for me. Why? Because you love that company. Because your father built it and you're making it better. Because Hartwell Hearts is changing lives and it needs you to keep fighting for it. And because if you quit for me and we don't work out, you'll resent me forever. We'll work out. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Vanessa reached across the table. Nathan, I spent 2 years not speaking to my father because of pride. I'm not wasting another minute on fear. I love you. I want to be with you. I want to be part of Oliver's life. I want this family we're building, and I'll do whatever it takes to make it work. Even if people talk, even if the board has issues, even if it's complicated and messy and hard. Especially then. She stood, moved around the table, pulled him to his feet. I've done easy. Easy left me standing in traffic wanting to die. Hard brought me here, with you. And I'll take hard over easy every single time. Nathan looked at her. This woman who'd been untouchable and perfect, and was now standing in his kitchen choosing him. Choosing complicated, choosing love over convenience. I love you too, he said. I should have said it back earlier. I love you. Vanessa kissed him. Soft at first, then deeper, both of them pouring everything they couldn't say into the contact. When they pulled apart, both were crying. So what now? Nathan asked. Now we figure it out. Together. We tell the board. We deal with the gossip. We make it work. She wiped her eyes. Nathan, I've faced down hostile takeovers and board rebellions and company crises. We can handle this. You make it sound simple. It's not simple, but it's worth it. You're worth it. They spent the rest of the morning planning. How to tell the board about their relationship. How to handle the inevitable gossip. How to make sure Nathan's promotion was based on merit, not favoritism. How to integrate Amanda back into Oliver's life carefully. How to build something real in the middle of all the chaos. When Derek brought Oliver home, the boy took one look at them and grinned. You're together now, like together. Nathan blinked. How did you... You're holding hands, and smiling weird at each other again. I'm 10, not stupid. Vanessa laughed. You okay with this, Oliver? Are you going to be my new mom? I'd like to be part of your life. However that looks, if that's okay with you. Oliver considered this seriously. Okay, but you have to come to my science fair, and help with homework, and make sandwiches sometimes. Deal. And Dad has to be happy. Really happy, not fake happy. Nathan's throat tightened. I'm working on it, buddy. Good, because you were sad a lot before. I like you better when you're not sad. That Friday, Nathan and Vanessa went to the board together. Sat across from 12 executives who controlled both their professional fates. Vanessa spoke first. I'm here to formally disclose a personal relationship with Nathan Cole. We understand the complications this creates. We're prepared to address any concerns you have. The board chair, an older man named Robert, steepled his fingers. This is highly irregular. I know. It creates conflicts of interest, questions about favoritism, potential liability. I know that too, which is why Nathan's promotion was approved by a committee that didn't include me. His performance reviews will be handled by Marcus, not me. We're putting safeguards in place to ensure everything is above board. And if we ask you to choose the company or the relationship, Vanessa met his eyes. Then I choose the relationship, but I don't think you want to lose me over this. Hartwell Hearts is working, profits are up, employee retention is the highest it's been in years. I'm making this company better. Firing me because I fell in love would be a mistake. Robert was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Nathan. You understand the position you're in, dating the CEO. Yes, sir. People will always question whether you earned your success or slept your way into it. Nathan's jaw tightened. Let them question. I know the truth. And what truth is that? That I'm good at my job, that I care about the people working under me, that I earned every opportunity I've gotten, and that loving Vanessa doesn't change any of that. Another long silence. Then Robert surprised them both by smiling. My wife was my secretary when we met, 40 years ago. People said terrible things. Said I was abusing my power, said she was using me. We almost gave up because of the gossip. He looked at them both. But we didn't. Best decision I ever made. So here's my position. You want to be together, fine. But you answer to me now. Quarterly reviews. Performance metrics. Any hint of actual impropriety, and you're both gone. Understood. Understood, Vanessa said. Good. Now get out of here. Some of us have work to do. They left the boardroom in shock. In the elevator, Nathan started laughing. We did it. They actually approved it. With conditions. Lots of conditions. But they approved it. Nathan pulled Vanessa close. We can be together. Publicly. Actually together. Yeah, we can. Vanessa kissed him. Still think this is too complicated. Absolutely, but I'm starting to think complicated might be worth it. The announcement went company-wide the next week. An email from Vanessa and Nathan jointly disclosing their relationship. The gossip exploded immediately. Some people were supportive, most were skeptical, a few were outright hostile. Greg Chen filed a complaint with HR, claiming Nathan had been given special treatment. It was investigated thoroughly and dismissed. Marcus wrote a glowing review of Nathan's performance as shop supervisor. Numbers backed it up. Production was up 15% since Nathan took over. Employee satisfaction scores were the highest in the garage's history. Slowly, grudgingly, people started to accept it. Not everyone. But enough. Oliver's Saturdays with Amanda became routine. She showed up on time. Brought him back happy and fed. Didn't make promises she couldn't keep. Slowly, carefully, she was earning back trust. How's it going with Mom? Nathan asked one Saturday evening after Amanda dropped Oliver off. Good. She's different now. Calmer. She listens. You like spending time with her? Yeah, but I still like living with you more. Oliver paused. Is she going to ask to live with us again? I don't know, buddy. Would you want that? No, this is good. Saturdays are good. I don't want things to change again. Nathan understood that. The fear of change after so much had already changed. If anything changes, we'll decide together. Okay, Yumi and Vanessa. We're a team. Promise. Promise. Thanksgiving came. Nathan Oliver, Vanessa, and surprisingly Amanda all together at Nathan's small house. It should have been awkward. Instead, it felt right. Like a family that had been broken was learning how to be whole again in a new way. I'm thankful for second chances, Amanda said when they went around the table. Her voice shook. And for ex-husbands who are better people than I deserved. And for my son who's teaching me how to be brave. I'm thankful for Dad, Oliver said. And Vanessa. And that Mom came back. And dinosaurs. Can I be thankful for dinosaurs? Everyone laughed. I'm thankful for Nathan, Vanessa said quietly. For pulling me out of the rain. For showing me what strength actually looks like. For giving me a family when I'd forgotten what that meant. Nathan was last. He looked around the table at these people who'd been broken and lost and were now here together trying. I'm thankful for all of you. For hard things that turn out to be good things. For learning that hope isn't dangerous, it's necessary. And for Oliver, who's the best part of every single day. They ate turkey and stuffing and pie, told stories and laughed, and for a few hours everything was simple and good. That night after Amanda left and Oliver went to bed and Vanessa stayed to help clean up, Nathan pulled her aside. Move in with us. Vanessa's eyes went wide. What? Move in. This house is too small and the heat doesn't work right, but it's home. And I want you here. Actually here. Not visiting. Living. Nathan, are you sure that's a big step? I'm sure. Oliver's sure. We talked about it. We want you here. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. Yes, God, yes. They kissed in Nathan's tiny kitchen that smelled like turkey and promise, and Nathan thought about how far they'd come. From that rainy night when he'd pulled a broken woman from traffic to this moment where she was choosing his chaotic, complicated, beautiful life over everything else. 2 weeks later, Vanessa moved in. Most of her expensive furniture went to storage, but she brought photos of her father, books, clothes, and the willingness to make Nathan's small house feel like home. Oliver helped her unpack. Your stuff is really nice. Thank you. Our house is kind of old, though. Dad says the heat doesn't work right. Then we'll fix it, together. You can fix heat. I can hire someone who can fix heat. Vanessa smiled. That's called delegation. That's called rich people problems, Nathan called from downstairs. Your dad's hilarious, Vanessa told Oliver. He thinks he is. That night, after Oliver was asleep, Nathan and Vanessa lay in bed in the dark. I can't believe you're actually here, Nathan said. Where else would I be? In your expensive apartment, living your expensive life, not dealing with old houses and complicated exes and 10-year-olds who ask too many questions. That life was killing me. This one is saving me. Vanessa rolled over to face him. Nathan, do you know what I thought about every day before I met you? Work. Just work. Profits and meetings and strategy. I forgot what it felt like to be human. And now I think about you, about Oliver, about what to make for dinner and whether the school needs volunteers and if I remembered to help with homework, normal things, human things, better things. You don't miss the old life. Not even a little. She kissed him softly. This is better. You're better. We're better. Nathan held her close and thought about how sometimes the best things in life come from the worst moments. How pulling someone from the rain can save 2 lives instead of 1. How compassion isn't weakness. It's the strongest thing there is. Outside, winter was coming. Inside, warmth finally worked right, because Vanessa had indeed hired someone to fix the heat. And in his small house, that now held 3 people instead of 2, Nathan Cole fell asleep, thinking that maybe finally he'd found what he'd been searching for all along. Not perfection, Not easy. Just real. Just right. Just home. But even as things settled into their new normal, even as happiness felt less terrifying and more possible, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that one more test was coming. One more choice. One more moment where everything would hang in the balance, and he'd have to decide what really mattered. He was right about that too. The call came 2 weeks before Christmas. The board chair. Robert. Nathan, we need to talk. Can you come in? Bring Vanessa. This affects you both. His stomach dropped. What's wrong? Just come in, please. They went together, hands clasped tight, preparing for the worst. Sat across from Robert, who looked older than usual, tired. I'm retiring, he said without preamble. Heart problems. Doctor says it's time. I'm sorry, Vanessa said. Don't be. I've had a good run. But that means we need a new board chair. And Vanessa, we want you. She blinked. Me. You've transformed this company. Hartwell Hearts alone has changed our culture completely. Profits are up. Retention is up. We're actually making a difference. You're exactly who should lead this board. He paused. But there's a catch. Of course there was. Board chair is a full-time position. You can't be CEO and chair. You'd have to step down as CEO. Let someone else run day-to-day operations while you focus on big-picture strategy. Vanessa's hand tightened on Nathan's. And if I say no? Then we find someone else. But Vanessa, this is your company, your father's legacy. You should be the one guiding its future. They drove home in silence. At the house, Oliver was at Amanda's for the evening. They had the place to themselves. Should have been romantic. Instead, felt heavy with impossible choices. Take it, Nathan said finally. I can't. Why not? Because being CEO is hard enough. Board chair would mean even more travel, more meetings, more time away from you and Oliver. I just got this life. I'm not giving it up. You're not giving it up. You're evolving it. Vanessa, this is huge. Your father would be so proud. My father died alone in his office because he chose the company over everything else. I'm not making that mistake. It's not the same. You have balance now. You have us. We're not going anywhere. Vanessa shook her head. I need to think. She thought for 3 days. Barely ate. Barely slept. Wrestled with the same choice her father had made, and she'd judged him for. Work or life. Ambition or connection. Success or love. On the third night, Nathan found her crying in their bedroom. Talk to me. I don't know what to do. If I take the position, I'm choosing work over you. If I don't, I'm walking away from everything my father built. Or, Nathan said carefully, you're choosing both. Taking the position and trusting that we're strong enough to handle it. That love doesn't mean sacrificing ambition. That you can have work and life. Can I? My dad couldn't. He tried, failed. I don't want to fail you and Oliver. Nathan pulled her close. You won't. You know why. Because you're not doing this alone. Your father was alone. You have me. You have Oliver. You have Amanda helping. You have a whole support system. Let us support you. What if it's too much? Then we'll figure it out, together, like we always do. He tilted her face up. Vanessa, I didn't fall in love with you because you gave up everything for me. I fell in love with you because you're brilliant and driven and passionate about making things better. Don't lose that. Take the position. Change the world. We'll be here when you come home. She searched his face. You really mean that? I really do. Be great, Vanessa. I'll be here being proud of you. She kissed him through tears. How did I get so lucky? You almost died in traffic and I happened to be driving by. That's not luck. That's fate. You don't believe in fate. I didn't. But then I met you. Vanessa accepted the position the next day. Became board chair of Hartwell Motors. The youngest person ever to hold the role. The announcement made news. Business journals wrote articles. People called her a visionary, a trailblazer, the future of ethical business. But Nathan knew the truth. She was just a woman who'd almost given up and chose to keep fighting instead. Who'd learned that strength wasn't about walls, it was about connection. Who'd found family in unexpected places and held on to it with everything she had. Christmas morning, Nathan woke to Oliver bouncing on the bed. "Dad, Vanessa, wake up, Santa came." They stumbled downstairs. Found the tree surrounded by presents. Oliver tore into them with abandon. New dinosaur books, a bike, the bike he'd been saving for. Nathan and Vanessa had bought it together. "This is the best Christmas ever," Oliver shouted. Nathan looked at Vanessa, sleepy and beautiful in pajamas, smiling at his son. Thought about last Christmas when it had been just him and Oliver barely scraping by, wondering if things would ever get better. They'd gotten better. Not perfect, not easy, but better. And sometimes Nathan thought better is enough. Sometimes better is everything. But better didn't mean finished. Better meant still working, still fighting, still choosing each other every single day. 3 months into Vanessa's new role as board chair, the real test came. It started with a phone call at 2 in the morning. Nathan woke to Vanessa's phone buzzing insistently on the nightstand. She grabbed it, still half asleep. "Hello?" Her voice sharpened immediately. "What when I'll be there in 20 minutes?" She was out of bed pulling on clothes before Nathan could ask what was wrong. "There's been an accident at the plant, a fire, 3 people injured. I have to go." "I'll come with you." "Nathan, you don't have to." "I'm coming." They left Oliver sleeping, texted Amanda to come stay with him, and drove through the dark toward Hartwell Motors. Fire trucks lined the street. The east wing was still smoking. Paramedics loaded stretchers into ambulances. Vanessa was out of the car before Nathan fully stopped running toward the plant manager, who looked shell-shocked. "How bad?" 3 injuries, 2 minor, 1 serious. Jenkins. He went back in to shut down the machinery before it exploded. Saved the whole building but the smoke inhalation. The manager's voice broke. "They don't know if he'll make it." Nathan knew Jenkins, older guy, quiet, 20 years with the company. Had grandkids. Vanessa's face went white. "Which hospital?" "St. Mary's." They drove to the hospital in silence. In the waiting room, Jenkins's wife sat alone crying. Vanessa sat next to her. "Mrs. Jenkins, I'm so sorry." The woman looked up, eyes red and swollen. He wouldn't have gone back in if the safety protocols were working, if the alarms had gone off when they should have, if the company cared more about people than profits. The words hit like bullets. Vanessa absorbed each one without flinching. "You're right. This is on me, on the company. We failed your husband." "Damn right you did." Mrs. Jenkins's voice was raw with grief and rage. 20 years he gave you, and for what? To die in a fire that shouldn't have happened. A doctor appeared before Vanessa could respond. "Family of David Jenkins." Mrs. Jenkins stood on shaking legs. "That's me." "Your husband is stable. The smoke inhalation was severe, but he's responding to treatment. We're cautiously optimistic." Mrs. Jenkins collapsed back into her chair, sobbing with relief. Vanessa stood there frozen, and Nathan could see her fracturing. "Come on," he said quietly, guiding her outside. In the parking lot away from everyone, Vanessa finally broke. "This is my fault. The safety inspection was scheduled for next month. I pushed it back because we were focused on Hartwell Hearts, on making people feel good while the actual infrastructure crumbled. Jenkins almost died because I was too busy playing hero. That's not fair. Isn't it? My father always said you can't fix culture without fixing operations. I thought I knew better. Thought compassion was enough. But compassion doesn't mean anything if the building burns down around you." Nathan took her shoulders. "Stop. You made a mistake. You'll fix it. That's what leaders do." "Leaders don't almost kill their employees." "No, but humans make mistakes. And you're human, Vanessa. You're allowed to be human." She shook her head. Not when people's lives depend on me. Not when I'm board chair. I have to be better than this. You are better than this. One delayed inspection doesn't erase everything you've built, everything you've changed. But Nathan could see she didn't believe him. Could see the guilt eating her alive. The same guilt that had driven her into that road 6 months ago. Don't, he said firmly. Don't go back there. Don't let this destroy you. Maybe it should. No. Nathan pulled her close. You don't get to give up. Not after everything we've fought for. Not after showing me how to hope again. You don't get to quit now. They stood in the hospital parking lot holding each other while the sun came up, and Nathan felt Vanessa trembling against him and prayed she'd hear him this time. The investigation took 2 weeks. Faulty wiring, deferred maintenance, safety protocols that looked good on paper but weren't being followed. The fire had been preventable, completely preventable, and it had nearly killed a man. The board met to discuss next steps. Lawsuits were coming, bad press, potential criminal negligence charges. The company Vanessa's father built was bleeding from a wound that she'd failed to notice while she was busy changing hearts instead of fixing systems. We need to settle quickly, one board member said. Pay Jenkins whatever he wants. Make this go away quietly. No, Vanessa said. Everyone stared at her. We don't make this go away. We own it. Publicly. We admit we failed. We show exactly what went wrong and how we're fixing it. And we pay Jenkins not because we're scared of lawsuits, but because it's right. That's financial suicide. That's integrity. And integrity is the only thing worth protecting. The board voted to support her. Barely. By 1 vote. But it passed. Vanessa held a press conference the next day. Stood in front of cameras and reporters and admitted everything. The deferred maintenance, the failed inspection, the culture that had prioritized profits over safety. Her voice never wavered. David Jenkins almost died because I was so focused on making people feel valued that I forgot to make sure they were safe. That's on me. That's on Hartwell Motors. And we're going to do better. Not with words, with action. Full safety overhaul. Third-party inspections. Real accountability. Because compassion without competence is just good intentions, and good intentions aren't enough when lives are on the line. The press tore her apart anyway, called her negligent, irresponsible, said she was in over her head, said women couldn't handle the pressure of leadership, said her father would be ashamed. Nathan found her in their bedroom that night, staring at her phone, reading every cruel comment and article. Stop torturing yourself. They're right, though. I failed. You admitted it. You're fixing it. That's more than most leaders would do. It's not enough. Jenkins could have died. But he didn't. He's recovering. And because of your press conference, 20 other companies are reviewing their safety protocols. You turned a tragedy into systemic change. That matters. Vanessa set down her phone. I keep thinking about that night you found me. How ready I was to just stop existing because I couldn't handle the weight. And now I understand why my father worked himself to death. Because the responsibility never stops. The pressure never eases. You just keep carrying it until it crushes you. Or you let people help carry it. Nathan sat next to her. You're not alone this time. You have me. You have Oliver. You have a whole company of people who believe in what you're building. Let us help. How? How do I let people help when I'm the one who has to make the decisions? Who has to stand in front of cameras and take responsibility? By remembering that taking responsibility doesn't mean taking all the blame. The system failed. Multiple people missed the warning signs. Yes, you're the leader. Yes, it's on you. But you didn't cause the fire. You just inherited a broken system, and you're trying to fix it. Give yourself the same grace you'd give anyone else. Vanessa leaned against him. When did you get so wise? I learned from someone who pulled herself out of the rain and decided to keep fighting even when it would have been easier to quit. They sat in silence for a while. Then Vanessa said, I want to visit Jenkins. Apologize in person. Okay, I'll come with you. The next day, they went to the hospital together. Jenkins was awake, bandages on his arms, oxygen tube in his nose. His wife sat beside the bed, her face hard when she saw Vanessa. "Mr. Jenkins," Vanessa said quietly, "I'm so sorry. For everything. For the fire. For the failed systems. For almost costing you your life." Jenkins studied her. "You mean that?" "I do. And I know sorry isn't enough. So I'm here to tell you that you'll receive full salary for however long recovery takes. All medical bills covered. And when you're ready to come back, if you want to come back, there's a position waiting for you. Any position you want. If you'd rather retire, we'll make sure you're taken care of." "That's a lot of money." "It's not about money. It's about doing what's right." Vanessa's voice shook. "You went back into that building to save people. You risked your life because you cared about your co-workers more than your own safety. That's the kind of person we need at Hartwell. The kind of person I want to be, Mrs." Jenkins's expression softened slightly. "You really changing things? Or is this just PR?" "I'm really changing things. It's slow, it's hard. I make mistakes. But I'm trying. And I won't stop trying." Jenkins reached out with a bandaged hand. Vanessa took it carefully. "Okay," he said. "I believe you." Something eased in Vanessa's chest. Not forgiveness exactly, but understanding. Acceptance that she was human and flawed, and still trying to do better. Over the next month, Hartwell Motors underwent the most comprehensive safety review in its history. Vanessa hired independent inspectors, fired 3 executives who'd been covering up problems, implemented new protocols with real teeth. It cost millions. The stock price dipped. Some board members grumbled, but nobody else got hurt. And slowly, the narrative started to shift. From CEO covers up negligence to CEO takes accountability and fixes systemic problems. Business schools started using Hartwell Motors as a case study in ethical leadership. Other companies reached out, asking how to implement similar changes. Jenkins came back to work after 2 months. Vanessa gave him a position in safety oversight. Who better to make sure this never happens again than someone who lived through it? He accepted, started working with Vanessa on industry-wide safety standards, turned his near death into purpose. One evening in late spring, Nathan found Vanessa in their backyard watching Oliver play. She looked peaceful in a way she hadn't in months. "Hey." She turned, smiled. "Hey yourself. How you doing, really?" "Better. Not perfect, but better." She pulled him down to sit beside her. "I've been thinking about my father a lot lately. About how he died at work. How he sacrificed everything for the company. You worried you're doing the same?" "I was. But then I realized something. He died alone. I'm not alone. I come home to you and Oliver every night. I have help. I have support. I have a life outside the office. That's the difference. That's what makes this sustainable. Sustainable is good. Sustainable is everything." She kissed him softly. "Thank you. For not letting me give up. For believing in me even when I couldn't believe in myself. That's what love is. Believing in someone when they forget how." Oliver ran over grass, stained and happy. "Dad, Vanessa, watch this." He did a cartwheel, fell halfway through, got up laughing. "That was perfect," Vanessa said seriously. "It was terrible. The falling is part of learning. You'll get it next time. You promise?" "I promise." Oliver ran off to try again. Nathan looked at Vanessa. "Good advice. I'm full of good advice these days. It's very annoying. I like you annoying. Good, because you're stuck with me. Promise?" "Promise." That Saturday, Amanda picked up Oliver as usual. But this time, she had someone with her. A man, middle-aged, kind face. "Oliver, Nathan, this is Brian. My therapist suggested I introduce you when I felt ready, if that's okay." Oliver looked at Nathan. Nathan nodded. "Hi. Oliver said cautiously. Hi, Oliver. Your mom talks about you all the time. It's really nice to meet you. They talked for a few minutes. Brian was gentle with Oliver. Didn't push, didn't try too hard, just existed in the space naturally. When they left, Oliver turned to Nathan. Is Mom going to marry him? I don't know, buddy. Would that bother you? I don't know. Maybe. He seems nice, though. Yeah, he does. Do you think you'll marry Vanessa? Nathan's heart skipped. Would you want me to? Oliver considered this seriously. Yeah, I think so. She's good for you, and she makes really good sandwiches. Nathan laughed. Those are important qualities in a wife. I'm serious, Dad. You're happy now. You weren't happy before. You're right. I am happy now. Good. You deserve to be happy. Nathan pulled his son into a hug, marveling at the wisdom in this small person who'd weathered so much and still believed in hope. That night, after Oliver was asleep, Nathan found Vanessa in the kitchen making tea. Oliver asked if we're getting married. Vanessa nearly dropped her mug. What did you say? I asked if he'd want us to. He said yes. And what do you want? Nathan moved closer, took her hands. I want to marry you. I want to make this permanent. I want Oliver to know that we're a real family, not just people living together. Nathan? But I also know we've only been together for 6 months. That's fast, so I'm not asking right now. I'm just telling you what I want. When you're ready, when we're both ready, I want forever with you. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. I want that too. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not today, maybe not this year, but someday. I want to marry you and be Oliver's stepmom and build a life that my father would be proud of. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. They kissed in the kitchen that still had the wobbly table in the house that was too small but felt just right, and Nathan thought about how much had changed since that rainy night 6 months ago. He'd been a man barely surviving, working 2 jobs, watching his son struggle, believing that people like him didn't get happy endings. Now he had one. Imperfect, complicated, hard-earned, but his. Summer came. Hartwell Hearts celebrated its first anniversary with a company-wide event. Hundreds of employees showed up, shared stories about how the program had changed their lives. A single mother who'd gotten childcare assistance, a widower who'd found grief counseling, a young employee who'd been able to afford night school. Vanessa stood at the front listening to every story, and Nathan could see her healing, see her understanding that the fire hadn't erased all the good she'd done. That mistakes didn't cancel out progress, that being human meant failing sometimes and getting back up anyway. Thank you, she said when everyone had spoken. All of you. For trusting me. For letting me learn. For believing that we could build something better together. My father used to say that a company is only as good as its people. I didn't understand what he meant. I thought he was being sentimental. But he was right. You are Hartwell Motors. Your stories, your struggles, your triumphs. And I'm honored to work alongside you. The applause was thunderous. Real. Earned. After the event, Nathan found Vanessa outside looking at the stars. You did good in there. We did good. None of this happens without you pulling me from that road. I didn't pull you from anything. You chose to live. I just happened to be there. You were there when it mattered. That's everything. She turned to him. Nathan, you asked me once why I came to your house that first time after everything blew up. Do you remember? You said you wanted to help. That wasn't the whole truth. The truth is I was terrified. The gossip was getting worse. The situation was spiraling. And I could have run. Could have transferred you to another branch or paid you off or any number of things that would have made the problem disappear. She took his hand. But I kept thinking about what you said to me that night. That sometimes the people at the very top are just as scared as everyone else. And I realized I didn't want to be scared anymore. I wanted to be brave. Like you. I'm not brave. You're the bravest person I know. You raise a son alone. You work impossible hours. You help strangers in the rain. You love people even when it's hard, even when it costs you. Her voice shook. You taught me that strength isn't about walls. It's about showing up. Even when you're terrified. Especially when you're terrified. Nathan pulled her close. We taught each other. That's how this works. That's how love works. They stood under the stars, two people who'd been broken and lost and had found each other in the wreckage. Found something worth fighting for. Worth choosing every single day. A year after that rainy night, Nathan got a letter. Fancy paper. Official looking. He opened it at the kitchen table while Vanessa made breakfast and Oliver did homework. What is it? Vanessa asked. Nathan read it twice to make sure it was real. It's from the governor. There's an award, Community Hero Award, for me. For pulling you from traffic and for, it says here, exemplifying the values of compassion and service that make our communities strong. Oliver looked up. Dad's a hero. Apparently. I could have told them that. The ceremony was the following month. Nathan wore the suit Vanessa had bought him, the one that actually fit. Stood on a stage in front of cameras and officials and received a plaque and a handshake from the governor. Nathan Cole represents the best of us, the governor said. He saw someone in need and helped, without hesitation, without expectation of reward, just pure human decency. We need more people like Nathan in this world. The applause was polite but genuine. Nathan saw Vanessa in the front row crying, saw Oliver beaming with pride, saw Amanda there too smiling, supporting him, even though she didn't have to. Afterward, reporters asked questions. How does it feel to be called a hero? I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who stopped when someone needed help. Anyone would have done the same. But not everyone did. You did. Nathan thought about that. About all the cars that must have passed Vanessa that night. All the people who chose not to get involved. All the moments every day when people look away from suffering because it's easier than helping. Then maybe we need to change that, he said. Maybe we need to build a world where helping each other is normal, where compassion isn't heroic, it's just expected, where we take care of each other because that's what people do. The quote made headlines, got picked up nationally, started conversations about community and connection and what we owe each other. Nathan was embarrassed by the attention, but Vanessa was proud. You're changing more than just our company, she told him that night. You're changing how people think about kindness. I'm just saying what should be obvious. That's what makes it powerful. Sometimes the simplest truths are the ones we need to hear most. 2 years after that rainy night, Vanessa proposed, not with a grand gesture or public spectacle. Just the two of them in their backyard after Oliver had gone to sleep. Marry me, she said simply. Nathan laughed. I thought I was supposed to ask you. Why? I know what I want. I want you. I want Oliver. I want this life we've built. Marry me, Nathan Cole. Yes. Yes. Yes, obviously, yes. They got married 3 months later. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Oliver was the best man. Amanda came with Brian, who'd indeed become serious. Jenkins was there. Derek, Marcus, even Greg Chen showed up, having finally made peace with the fact that Nathan had earned everything he'd gotten. The vows were simple. Nathan promised to keep showing Vanessa what strength looked like. Vanessa promised to keep choosing love over fear. Both of them promised Oliver they'd be the family he deserved. I now pronounce you husband and wife. They kissed while everyone applauded and Oliver cheered. And Nathan thought about how far they'd come from that moment in the rain. Standing on a stage at the reception, Nathan clinked his glass. I want to thank everyone for being here, for supporting us, for believing that two broken people could build something whole together. He looked at Vanessa. 2 years ago, I was barely surviving, working myself to death, believing that people like me didn't get second chances. And then one rainy night I found someone who needed help, and helping her saved me too." Vanessa wiped tears from her eyes. So here's to second chances, to compassion, to showing up for each other even when it's hard, to building a world where kindness isn't exceptional, it's expected, and to my wife who taught me that hope isn't dangerous, it's necessary. They toasted, danced, celebrated late into the night. And when Nathan finally collapsed into bed with his wife beside him and his son sleeping peacefully down the hall, he thought about all the ways one moment can change everything. If he'd driven past that night, if he'd been too tired or too scared or too focused on his own problems, if he'd chosen not to get involved. But he hadn't. He'd stopped. And that choice had rippled out in ways he never could have imagined. Changed a company, changed lives, changed everything. 3 years after the wedding, Hartwell Hearts went national, then international, became a model copied by companies worldwide. Vanessa won awards, gave speeches, wrote a book about ethical leadership that became required reading in business schools. But she always came home, always made time for family dinners and homework help and Oliver's science fairs. Never let the work consume her the way it had consumed her father. Oliver graduated elementary school, then middle school, grew into a kind, thoughtful teenager who wanted to study social work because he'd seen how much difference one person could make. Amanda rebuilt her life, married Brian, maintained her relationship with Oliver, became someone Nathan could trust again, slowly, carefully. Nathan ran the garage at Hartwell Motors, never wanted promotions beyond that, found satisfaction in fixing things, in mentoring young mechanics, in being present. And every year on the anniversary of that rainy night, Nathan and Vanessa drove to the spot where it had all started, stood together and remembered. "Thank you," Vanessa said every year. "For what?" "For stopping, for not driving past, for saving my life. You saved mine too. We saved each other." And that was the truth. Not a fairy tale where the hero rescues the damsel. Not a story where one person fixes another, but a real, messy, beautiful truth about two people who found each other at their lowest and chose to rise together. Years later, Nathan would visit schools and tell Oliver's classmates about that night, about how one act of compassion had changed everything, about how you don't need to be special or extraordinary to make a difference. You just need to stop when someone needs help. "What if you're scared?" a kid asked once. "Then you stop anyway." Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and choosing to help anyway. But what if it's hard? It will be hard. The right thing usually is, but hard doesn't mean not worth doing. The kids listened. Some of them understood. Some of them didn't. But Nathan planted seeds anyway. Hoped some of them would take root. That someday, one of these kids would see someone in need and remember the story about the single dad and the CEO and the rainy night that changed everything. And maybe they'd stop. Maybe they'd help. Maybe they'd start their own ripple. On Nathan's 50th birthday, Vanessa gave him a photo album. Inside were pictures chronicling their journey. That first day off they'd taken to the Science Museum. Christmas mornings. The wedding. Oliver growing up. Hartwell Hearts events. Their life together captured in moments. On the last page was a photo Nathan had never seen before. The umbrella. The one he'd used that rainy night. Vanessa had kept it all this time. Beneath the photo, her handwriting, "You didn't just save me from the rain. You showed me what it meant to be human again. Thank you for not pretending to forget." Nathan's eyes filled with tears. "I could never forget." "Good. Because I need you to remember. On the hard days when I forget who I am, when the pressure gets too heavy, when I start building walls again, I need you to remember and remind me. Always." They sat together looking through years of memories, and Nathan thought about how sometimes the quietest moments become the loudest. How one decision to stop to help to show compassion can echo through decades. How saving someone else becomes the moment you save yourself. Oliver came in 19 now and home from college. Saw them looking at the album. You two are so sappy. We're in love. We're allowed to be sappy. Whatever. I'm ordering pizza. You guys want any? Yeah, we want pizza. Oliver left. Vanessa leaned her head on Nathan's shoulder. We did good, didn't we? We did great. Think my father would be proud. I think he'd be amazed, not just at what you built, but at who you became. I became myself, with your help. We helped each other. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. Outside, the sun was setting. Inside their home was warm and full and exactly right. And in the distance, somewhere in the city, someone else was having the worst night of their life. Wondering if things would ever get better. Wondering if anyone cared. Nathan hoped someone would stop for them. Someone would help. Someone would show them that compassion still existed in a world that often felt cold and cruel and indifferent. He hoped they'd find their own rainy night miracle, their own second chance, their own beginning disguised as an ending. Because that's what that night had been for Nathan and Vanessa. Not an ending, a beginning, the start of everything that mattered. The moment when two broken people found each other and decided broken was okay. Broken could be fixed. Broken could become whole. Not perfect, never perfect, but whole. And sometimes Nathan thought as he held his wife close and listened to his son order too much pizza in the next room, sometimes whole is all you need. Sometimes love and family and choosing each other every day is enough. Sometimes one act of kindness in the rain is enough to change the entire trajectory of a life. 2 lives, 1,000 lives. Because kindness ripples, compassion echoes. And every time we choose to help instead of drive past, we make the world a little bit better. One stopped car at a time. One saved life at a time. One second chance at a time. Nathan closed the photo album and kissed his wife and thought about all the ways he was grateful for that rainy night. For being in the right place at the right time. For choosing to stop. For everything that came after. I love you, he said. I love you too, Vanessa replied. And somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled. A storm was coming. People would need help. Nathan hoped someone would be there to offer it, just like he'd been there that night. Just like someone had been there for him when he'd needed it most, even if he hadn't realized it at the time. Because we all need saving sometimes. We all need someone to stop. We all need to remember that we're human, and being human means showing up for each other. Especially in the rain. Especially when it's hard. Especially when love is the only thing strong enough to pull us back from the edge. Nathan stood up, stretched, went to join his family for pizza. Left the photo album open to that last page. The umbrella. The reminder. The proof that one moment of compassion had saved 2 people who'd then spent the rest of their lives trying to pay it forward. And in the end, that was all that mattered. Not the awards or the recognition or the headlines. Just the decision to help. Just the choice to care. Just the willingness to stop in the rain when someone needed saving. Everything else was just details. Everything else was just the story of what happened after. And it was a good story. A true story. A story worth telling. A story that proved once and for all that sometimes the people who seem untouchable are just waiting for someone to see them, to help them, to remind them they're not alone. And sometimes saving someone else is exactly how you save yourself.